What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Brujo 101. I am Martin Moreno. I am joined by my lovely and enchanted galactic bruja, spiritual advisor, my bad, Thanya, a.k.a. Ashe, just back from Prague, and all the blessings over there. How you doing, Thanya?
I'm good. Almost didn't come. It's raining. You know witches in the rain?
Yeah, I know.
I'm going to melt. So you're lucky that I showed up. But here I am.
So blessed. And then we have our guest here, Anthony Campos, a.k.a. Big Citric, actor, comedian, all-around good guy. How you doing, Tony?
Good.
Does anybody call you Tony?
Just people from my childhood.
Yeah?
Yeah. But you're welcome to call me, though.
Yeah. Anthony, because all the Anthonys I know are como se dice, Tonys. And shit. Yeah.
Everybody that knows me since I was a kid, man, you know, all my childhood friends and family, they all call me Tony. Yeah.
Badass.
Tony, ven para acá, Tony.
Bro, I've had
in trouble a lot. I can tell.
That's how I know when I'm in trouble.
You've been on Yo. You've been on the Spanish one, which surprised the shit out of me that you speak fluent Spanish.
Surprised me
by
too.
the way, like, because you look like one of them Chicanos that just like it would be all broken Spanish, but like I was like, oh, this motherfucker's better than me, man.
Well, it's still broken, but
Nah.
Kind of there.
Nah, homie.
It's probably like 80%.
I'll give you props on your Espanol, homie. It's good.
It, man.
And but now you're joining us on our we call it Brujo 101, but we use the term very loosely because anything that wasn't traditional church structure was called brujeria.
Yeah.
Anything that was just not in the religious vein was, you heal with some kind of herb, or it's a bruja. You have a crystal, or it's a pinche bruja, con la bruja, cuidado con la bruja. And so that's why we called it Brujo 101, because we touch on all things spiritual. So thank you for joining us. I was just telling you that Thanya just got back from Prague, and she was in a church with huesos, with bones. Thanya, what was that about?
I went to Kutnahara, so that's in a small town outside of Prague.
Say that again, honey.
Kutnahara.
Okay.
So it's an ossuary. So it's a church that is built out of bones, like some corporal admiral went cuckoo.
Well, I've seen that on a documentary thing.
And just started stacking the bones, I've been there twice. This time it's a lot more commercialized, like they have it behind the things. But yeah, I went over there, seeing if I could take something. You can't.
Take some bones.
Yeah.
Dude.
You can't anymore. The first time I went, you actually were probably able to. This
Stop.
time, it's very, I swear.
I don't know that I'd have the balls to remove bones from somewhere, like unless I was invited to do it, like, hey, you're going to take this as some sort of,
I want to tell you that I would not do that, but my mom, she don't really give a fuck. So the first time we went and I took her to Prague, she was like, okay, quiero ir para acá. And then she was in there and I walked by the wall and she's like, and I'm like,
stop.
I was like, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm going to take this home to the prenda. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to look. So let's just go.
She grabbed the whistle?
Yeah, she had a little piece.
Your mom
I can't take her anywhere.
Gangster.
Your mom is gangster. Yeah, your mom is fucking gangster. You look like you got some sun, Thanya.
I do? Yeah.
Yeah, you look tan.
Oh, you know what? I was outside a lot. Yeah, that's true. It was really cold. Like, you just got back. It was really cold, but there was a lot of sun. It was weird, like that weird cold, And in Budapest, it was just really sunny, but un pinche frío. I was like, I am too Mexican to be here. Like, it is fucking cold.
Budapest just sounds like this, just so exotic. Budapest,
right? Because it used to be two countries. It was Buda, and then there was Pest, and they got together. I swear I didn't know that either. So I learned all this on my trip.
It was Buda and it was Pest.
Yes. So can you believe the people named the Pest part of it? It was crazy. That place was cool. They grow lavender. So I brought 50 pounds of lavender back.
What?
And
dude, how much lavender? That's a lot of lavender.
It's really good though. And they grow paprika. I don't care about paprika. And I got a lot of crystals because in Prague is where people buy moldavite. You guys see those TikToks about moldavite? Don't wear this crystal. It'll ruin your relationship. Yeah. So I bought a bunch of that. I'm still married. And here we are. So yeah, it was good. It was good. A lot of brujeria stuff.
It didn't work for me.
Right? Like a lot of brujeria stuff. A lot of brujeria. Budapest has really good nightlife. We should go.
Yeah.
Like it's considered the party town of like those 3 countries.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Like as soon as we got to the hotel, one of my friends, Vanessa, went with me. They were like, "This is the party town."
I'm fascinated by the Santo Niños, you know, as you well know, the you know, you got Cebu, the Atocha,
And
Prague,
the
and then I
Praga.
just found another one, the black one. I think I told you about. It's also in the I forget Batangas.
Oh, because there's one San Martin.
Well, that's not a Santo Niño. San Martin
Oh,
was.
okay, that's right.
Yeah, so the Santo Niño de Atocha, and then you have the Santo Niño de Prague, Santo Niño de Cebu, Santo Niño de Batangas is a black one that nobody wants to talk about for some reason,
But
Tanya.
it's Surullo.
Oh yes, Sorullo. Yeah, this is God shows up. Okay, listen. I know these are my
Those are
Santo
mine,
Niños,
except for
but
the
what
black
about Batangas?
The black one ain't mine.
And then she said, el Batangas el único tuyo.
In Prague, I thought of you because I went to the Santo Niño de Prague church.
Uh-huh.
And there was this lady outside. I guess they're very Catholic, right? So all of those people love Mexicans. It's the second time I go to Prague, but they love Mexicans. They're like really into Mexicans. As soon as you speak Spanish, they're like, and the guy who was driving us around was a transplant from another country. And he's like, yeah, you know, be careful because there's a lot of card readers and palm readers and they'll try to take your money. And I was like, so the whole time I was there 4 days. I was like, where are these people? Why can I not find them? Like, I want somebody to do something for me. And I found out they hang out at that church, El Santo Niño de Praga.
Dude, you know, Catholics love palm readers and card
to know the
readers.
future.
They do. But yeah, that's like I said, fascinated by the Santo Niños. I myself am the Santo Niño de Wilmas, as you well know, Santo Niño from Wilmington.
Yeah,
No, not Jesus, Chiki. Santo Niño.
Santo Niño, yes.
It's different, Chiki.
Well, you know, I'm different incarnations
Even
at
in
different times.
Even in the Santo Niño world, there's discrimination.
Yeah, there is, of course, bro, right?
Not the black one.
Now-
That's messed up.
Now, Citric, did you grow up? I mean, being Mexicano, I'm guessing I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that you probably grew up Catholic, or was there not any religion in your home?
Yeah, we grew up Catholic. You know, we grew up Catholic. My mom dragged me to church every Sunday.
He said drag me.
I think we all got the people that went to church got dragged. I don't know any kid that woke up and said, "Oh yeah, let's go to church."
Unless we were going to IHOP after that, then I'd be the first one there. But yeah, no, we used to go to church every Sunday. You know, and it was just, you know, follow the Catholic tradition. But you know, sometimes I would question stuff and I would ask my mom certain things, and my mom would get mad. He'd tell me to don't ask questions, don't worry about it. It just, you know, this is what it is, and just follow it. I said, all right.
Did you do your first communion?
I did first communion. Yeah.
Really?
Wow, that's good.
Wow. You did your.
I had a
Did
tux and everything.
you do your
Like I was going to a wedding.
So I had my shiny shoes on.
Yeah.
how about your confirmation?
También.
Really?
Oh.
Oh, so you're a good Católico.
So they say.
Yeah. All right. And now, before you do those things, you have to go to confession, right?
Yeah.
Now, when you went to confession, I've only been to confession, I think, once in my life, and it was right before my first communion.
How
And,
old were you?
Oh, dude, a kid, like a tiny kid,
He was a little guy.
maybe 8. What the fuck
What the fuck
sins
you
did I
gonna
have?
confess?
Nothing, bro. I probably already touched myself though, because I did feel that
But you
guilt.
weren't gonna tell the priest.
No, fuck no. And that's my point. Like you go to confession, and then there's some people that really do confess the whole pedo, right? I was just like, oh, you know, I lied to my mom, I cheated at school, blah blah blah. But like, you know, what
priest is
what
like,
what
"This
can
is
you
my
do
life."
at 8? What have you possibly done?
Not
That's
shit.
so you ain't done shit. You're a fucking kid. You're innocent. The fact that
cigarette, yeah.
the fact that the fact that
Smoke a cigarette.
He's like, I hit a body.
Yeah.
you know, but the fact that they make you feel that guilt that young is kind of like, it's kind of shitty, I feel, you know.
It is, man.
But did you remember confession?
I don't remember what I confessed, but I remember, yeah, we had to go to confession before well, like maybe like a, I don't know, it was like a week before, or
Yeah.
a couple of days before we did first communion, and yeah, but I don't remember what I told the priest. And I was like Pepito, and
Yeah.
the joke of Pepito, he's all pecoso, and the father goes, "Pecas." He goes, padre, está en el culo. He was all full of freckles everywhere.
Fucking Pepito, bro. Pepito's the first dick joke I ever heard, probably.
Yeah.
You know? No son peras, ni son limones, son mis huevos que están pelones. Like,
I have never heard that in my life.
so Pepito's like taking a piss. Pepito's taking a piss off a balcony somewhere because he had to pee, and then he fucking takes out his dick and his balls, and then the nun looks up, oh, son peras, they're pears. And the other nun said, no, they're limones. And then Pepito starts singing that song. They're not pears, they're not lemons. It's my bald ass fucking huevos, right? You know, Pepito was this dude. He'd fuck the teacher, or the teacher would fuck Pepito. Like, I grew up listening to
I don't
Pepito.
think he fucked the teacher.
Yes.
He makes jokes, right?
Well, they're jokes about Pepito fucking the teacher. There are jokes about Pepito fucking the teacher. There's jokes about Pepito fucking his cousin.
Yeah.
There's jokes about Pepito fucking Chueco's sister. Like, he's at the movies, and then the sister says, oh, Pepito, you know, Pepito fucking talks her into fucking, and then like all of a sudden her brother Chueco's coming. Pepito, entra Chueco, and then it's coming in crooked, because that's the brother's name, crooked. And then he goes, okay, well, don't move, no te muevas. He says, like, these are jokes that I heard.
In those little Mexican magazines, those little comic book things.
These jokes started like God knows how long, way back. My dad was a kid.
Probably like in the 20s or something.
Probably, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so these Pepito jokes were all over my neighborhood growing up, because there was a lot of little paisa kids there, including me. I was a paisa kid, but when I look at pictures of me back in the day, homie.
Silver teeth activities
Oh
right there.
my God. Bro, fucking you know them socks with the colored stripes and shit?
Yeah, those
but
are
with
in
no
again.
elastic, just
Those are in
fucking
again.
falling off.
Those are in again.
Falling off with no elastic, with hard shoes, shorts, and a shirt that my tia had made for me, bro. Sitting there throwing up a W like, oh, Wilma's. Like, what the fuck's that? Shut up, you dumb mocoso.
And I'm 8.
Yeah, dude. No, seriously, like I'm 9, like in that
It's
picture.
like everybody in those days had a tia that was sewing.
Yeah, like
knew how to
all
make
our clothes.
eh?
Yeah, we weren't buying clothes. My tia would make all of our clothes, you know?
Yeah.
And now when you go pay for somebody to make your clothes, it's
It's
expensive.
expensive, man.
It's all tailored custom.
Right.
Yeah, and
Tailored and
I grew up
custom.
with Taylor Custom. Who knew?
Right?
You're ahead of both of you were ahead of your time.
Oh, so ahead of our time.
There you go.
If I would have known back then how good we had it.
Yeah.
Chingado. Now, did you stay in the church, Citric? Did you keep the faith? Did you keep going to church as you got older? The Catholic church, that is?
You know what? I still kept going, you know, for a while, you know, but for a long time I didn't go. I just stopped, you know. Now that I stopped believing or lost the faith, it just seemed, I don't know, it just something just didn't seem right, you know, like every week, you know, I don't know, it was just weird. Like, it was just something that, like, a lot of the stuff you were saying, like, I kind of already understood a lot of the stuff. A lot of the stuff felt like they were just kind of indoctrinating, you know. So it was just weird. Like, I would sit there in church, and it was like kind of like I was able to see through the priest, so to speak, you know. I don't know, but I still went just to keep going, and, you know, to make my mom happy too, you know. But then, like I said, just got to a point where I just stopped going. But I never stopped believing in God, though, you know. I just don't believe in religion, no.
That's very, very fair. Now, when you have kids, how old were you when you started having kids?
Shit, this guy's 28, so I was like maybe 22 at the time, I think. Yeah.
Did you take your son to do his first communion?
Yeah, he did his first communion. Yeah.
How about confirmation?
Confirmation too.
Órale.
You did your confirmation, no?
He's
right
like,
here.
no,
He's like,
motherfucker.
He's like, no.
I'm almost certain you did.
Call your mom. No, I'm just kidding.
Right?
She'll know.
Yeah, no. So
To have the confirmation to get married type of deal, right?
I think so. If you're gonna get married, you have to have been
You have
confirmed.
to be confirmed if you want to get married in the
Confirmed,
church.
and you had the Holy Communion too, right?
The Holy
Well,
Communion.
communion
too.
comes and then the confirmation
Yeah, the
comes
confirmation.
later. So,
Yeah.
so I think what happens is, like, you know, like, obviously you dropped the ball, fucker. You're a bad Catholic because he did his first communion, but then no confirmation.
I went on tour and I totally forgot. Man.
But I think that's what happens. Like, so you baptize them, obviously.
Yeah.
So, you know, because if you don't get baptized, obviously you can't get into heaven, and you're gonna be floating around purgatory forever. You fuck. You sinless fuck. Your parents didn't bring you to get the water. You're gonna float around for eternity, you monkey.
That's what they
Which-
tell us.
That's what they say. That's what they say.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, right?
Allegedly.
So now, my granddaughter, who was my first granddaughter, she got baptized.
Okay.
And then the two monkeys that followed, by that time, Huda was like, okay, I'm over it. So I don't blame you for like not following through with the whole confirmation thing. It's so many, and they all cost money.
I was going to say, you know how expensive these parties are?
Oh, dude, they all cost money. All of them.
It's like a little wedding.
And that's basically what it is. It's like a little mini wedding.
Yeah, you gotta have a little.
Come over and get drunk.
Yes. That's the crazy part. Like, let's go take a bath at the church, and then let's get a kegger.
Let's get a kegger and get drunk.
Did you get confirmed, child? Asha, did you get baptized?
I got baptized, but no, I did not get confirmed.
Primera comunión?
No. ¿Qué es eso? No.
Come on.
No.
You didn't have your pretty dress?
And I think I only got baptized because at the time, so my dad's from here, right? But my mom's from Mexico City. And at the time, my grandmother was still in Mexico. Mm-hmm. And she was like, baptize this fucking kid. So they
dude, yeah.
They took me to Mexico and baptized me. And it was like,
me too.
Not a kegger. It was just like whatever they do. And that was
they
it.
killed a vaca for mine.
Killed a vaca, the pig.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
They loved you guys more than me. I just got a fucking dress and probably, I don't know.
Matching socks.
I got
Matching
confirmed in
socks.
Mexico.
So did I.
I got confirmed in Mexico, and then we just killed a chivo.
A chivo.
Yeah.
Dang, I want to go to your family's party. Any excuse, you guys are partying it up.
Right? Now they go all out when they do a party, man. A pig, a vaca, whatever.
Yeah, homie.
Whatever's in
Vacas.
sight, man. Even a horse if possible. I don't know.
Oh my god! I remember going to Mexico and somebody was getting confirmed and we were like in the line, right? And somebody came to tell my mom. I had to be like 13, so my mom was probably already getting her cards read and stuff.
I think I was around that same age.
Yeah, I had to be like 13. My sister,
I think that's when you get confirmed around that age.
because my sister was older and she hadn't done it. She was like 18 or whatever, and they were like, "Oh, if you want, the priest will come and slap them, or that's what they do, right?
You
They
get slapped, yeah.
And I remember my mom like pulled me and my sister aside and my dad, and she was like, I don't know, si él se masturbó con esa mano que no se tocando mis hijas. And I was like, oh, we're leaving then. We're not going to do this, huh? And she was like, let's go. I was like, okay, mom. So my mom was like, we're not going to fucking play this game.
How do you slap a child, bro? Like, what the fuck is that about?
Haven't you seen all those videos of the priests?
Yeah.
Who are so fucking mean?
With the Catholic schools.
Get the hell. My mom went to Catholic school all her life.
They hit you with the ruler.
She says, esas monjas eran las peores.
Yeah. I never understood that either. Like, man, you're preaching the word of God, and isn't God supposed to be love? But you guys are beating everybody.
Quiet!
The corporal punishment and shit. Like, what?
Homie.
I used to trip out on that shit. I was like, man, that's why I knew something wasn't right, man.
Yeah. No, it's crazy because I grew up with it, when I was a teenager, I remember, and I don't know if I've told this story, but I'll repeat it. I repeat myself sometimes, but I remember when my aunt died, my dad's sister, who pretty much raised my dad. We were at Kaiser Bellflower, and by that time, my dad had already started losing his eyesight. He had cataracts, and so he couldn't see in the daytime, let alone at night. I remember it was pouring. It was one of those El Nino in the late 70s, early 80s. And I think my early 80s, yeah. And my aunt, we went, and she was on her deathbed. They were about to take her off the vent. And we went, and I remember my dad was devastated. And we got in the car, and like he goes, I can't drive. He goes, you're going to have to drive. And by that time, I might have been like maybe 14, 15 at this time. But by that time, I was already driving without a license, fucking Mexicans. And I get in the car, and I can't. This is before GPS. This is before, any of that shit.
You didn't have a Thomas guide in the back?
Nothing, none of that. Even if I would have had one, I would have known how to use it.
How do I use it?
Yeah, and my mom speaks no English. My dad's in the back seat, and it's pouring just like that big thick ass rain that you can't see shit. And we're in this old ass junker beater car, and we're about to drive home. And my mom does the sign of the cross, and then she said, I'll never forget it, que la sombra de San Pedro y de San Pablo nos cubre y nos proteja. May the shadow of St. Paul and St. Peter cover us and protect us. Nadie nos va a hacer daño, and ningún policía nos va a ver, and no police is going to see us, is what she said. And off we went.
So she did brujeria.
She did a prayer. She did a prayer with her faith. We got home. We made it home to the apartment we lived on Gulf Avenue in Wilmington. And that prayer stuck in my head. To this day, it's embedded in my head. We're talking, this was what, 40 fucking years ago plus?
Wow.
Do you understand that every time I would get in a car to drive with a suspended license after drinking all night, I would say que la sombra de San Pablo y de San Pablo nos all loaded doing this prayer for protection. And then the times that I got my DUIs, it's like, oh, I probably didn't say the prayer. You know,
Imagine
like,
the people who are sitting in your car and you're praying all loaded.
in my head.
Oh, okay.
In my head. I would do it in my head. I was so programmed with it that every time I would fly into my adult life, que la sombra de San Pedro and then I'd say like, oh, you're the pilot of this plane and of my life. Like, I do this prayer every single fucking time. That's how conditioned I was. Yeah, and I like, you know, like people do the sign of the cross before they get in the freeway or whatever the hell. On whatever they do it. So I used to do that. And I remember doing it, and this one guy one time saying to me, why do you do that? I go, because I can, motherfucker. Like, you know, leave me alone. Like, that's how much I defended it.
Leave me alone.
And one day I was flying back from Asia somewhere. I think we were in Malaysia, I think it was. It was a long-ass flight. And I remember I took a giant edible, like just so that I can knock out. And I started my little ritual, you know. Que la sombra de blah, 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 blah. I'm saying this thing in my head. And as I'm saying it, I don't know if it was God. I don't know if it was Jesus. I don't know if it was a spirit, but it said, what the fuck are you doing?
Oh, wow.
The fuck are you doing? Why? What is that? What is this? Insurance in case this plane crashes? What are you doing and why are you doing it? And do you really understand the spirit right now? Because this is just this thing that you say when you're loaded, when you're this, when you're afraid, whatever the hell. What is this? And I was like, oh, fucking. And at that moment, I never felt more spiritual than at any time that I had said that before. And from that day forward, I never said it again. I never did it again. And I remember that's the first time that I said, every time I take X amount of milligrams, I'd say, I'm flying with Jesus. Because that was when I got to know Jesus, was flying on those many milligrams. And it took me that many milligrams to fly with Jesus and have my spiritual connection. And I know that, you know, there's a lot of disciplines and a lot of faith that are anti, you know, getting high to connect to your spirituality. But now that in retrospect, as I'm thinking about it, holy fuck, that's probably where I connected it.
But there's a lot of faiths that tell you to get high.
Correct. Yeah. And so, but anyway, like that till this day. And I used to say, you know, like every time I take X amount of milligrams, it'd be like, how you feeling? I'm flying with Jesus. Like, I say that, you know? And, but it was like a moment of clarity, a moment of like, this is real spirituality right now. Like, hey, get to know me. Shortly after that, I discovered, you know, the teachings of Alan Watts. I discovered a lot of other disciplines and philosophies that have really helped to edify my spiritual growth. But it wasn't until I broke that craziness that I was doing.
It's hard to break that.
Oh my God, it's so hard.
It's a tradition, you know, it's something that's embedded in those traditions. You know, our parents, you know, and that's how my mom, every time we would get into conversations about you know, the religion and all this stuff, and I would come at her with certain things, and then she would come at me back, and we bump heads. You know, we go at it, and then so finally she would just get mad, like, you know, like, hey, stop asking me all this because I don't know. I'm just doing what my parents told me to do. So I'm like, man.
You're I don't. Well, I'm gonna get into. You don't have to talk about it if you want. But your mother passed recently, correct?
Yes.
Like how long ago?
Like, August 29th.
Okay, so it's coming not even a year.
Thank you.
Okay, rest in peace. And she was a spiritual person or a religious person, yes. I would imagine. Now, when she passed, did you find yourself connecting more to the faith than before, or did it not have an impact, or how did that work for you? And the only reason I say that or ask that, Citric, is because, you know, when my mom passed in October. A few months ago, and when she passed, I had, and I've shared here before how I've always like shit on the Catholic faith and on the this and the that because of so much of the problems that I have with it. But I found myself connecting in a different way to the rosary because of all the energy that she put into it in my name to pray for me and into the candles and into all that. And now it's not a religion for me, but it's more of a connection to the energy that she put into all of those iconography and into that symbolism, that I feel a connection to her. And I'm wondering if that is something that happened to you, or if you want to share whatever it is that happened during that time.
Well, what we did do is her rosary. She had she always carried her rosary. Simply,
She'd do a lot of
prayers.
my mom did rosaries her whole life.
What we did do with the rosary is I have it hanging in the living room. So it's like just it symbolizes her energy the same way like you're saying. So to me that like I feel her presence every day. Like I feel her guiding us and just watching over us. So yeah, I mean, other than like I've never lost faith. Like I just don't believe in religion, but I'm real big on God. Like I talk to God every day. Well, I don't know if I'm talking to myself, but I might be talking to God. I try to talk to God, but get the best guidance I can get, whatever. But I know my mom's still around. Like guiding us. I feel her presence, and I think maybe it has something to do, like I said, with the rosary, with her energy. And even though, because she passed away here, but we hadn't seen her for like over a year because of the pandemic. But I finally went to Mexico and I was able to bring her back. The last year. And it was just weird, man. Like it was just like she kind of already felt it, like I kind of felt it, but I wasn't trying to, like I wasn't really trying to like dive into it, or think about it too much. But it was like she was already talking already, like she kind of knew, like this was like she was already, like going, but we just didn't know, how quick she was gonna, depart. But yeah, no, like I said, that's the one thing we held on to, was her rosary. We kept it, and I just have it there in the living room.
When my mom, when she was on her deathbed, I took her a rosary because I know she always prayed the rosary.
Yeah.
And I remember taking her a rosary, and then I would play the rosary for her on my I went on Spotify, and I found the Rosario, and she would get the rosary, she'd go bead to bead, she'd repeat the stuff, and I remember just sitting there like as many times as I shit on it when she would do it, like, what are you doing, lady? Like, nobody's listening. ¿Qué estás haciendo, The comfort that it gave her just was like, it took on a whole different meaning for me, a whole different meaning for me when I saw her doing it on her deathbed. And that rosary, my sister has it, because she lived with my sister, so she has that rosary. It had San Judas on it.
Oh, okay.
And I went to my sister's house, and it happened. And my sister had found a statue of San Judas. She didn't even know San Judas, and she put it out next to my mom's picture shortly after my mom passed, or after we buried her, rather, because you have to wait now with COVID.
Yeah.
And when she happened to put it out, it was the day of San Judas, which is crazy, and she didn't even know that it was that day. And then I had I looked in my house, and I had a San Judas rosary that just I happened to come by, that I had in a little box with a picture of my mom with her grandma, who was like a big prayer. And then there was a San Judas rosary in there that I have no idea how it got in there. It's just like it, and we look for meaning and things. I feel that we search for meaning, and or things become meaningful when we're looking for some kind of comfort. But it's like, oh shit, it's a sign that she's here. Just like when you said we feel her, I feel the same way. Like little things like that just make it seem like, oh, this woman is still, her energy's still there.
Still around, and I don't know. Somebody told me too, like the angel numbers, and you start seeing like numbers, like on digital clocks. Like I notice certain numbers that pop up all the time, It's like 111 or 1111.
1111, right?
444, 888. Like I just get all of a sudden just everything just coming at me, man. Like,
bro,
so I don't know if it has something to do with her or what. But
I didn't. I just started paying attention to the angel numbers too, not too long ago, and my mom, her birthday was 12/12.
Oh wow.
And Chiki looked at me one day and she goes, "You had angel numbers your whole life."
You don't even know.
And you didn't even realize that 12-12 was your. And I'm like, oh, fuck! Like it just.
Sería de la Virgen, no?
And yeah, it's the Virgen de Guadalupe, and she was a Guadalupe. But yeah, I never put it together like angel. Like even when she was alive, it was like 11-11. Oh, blah blah blah. But it's like her fucking birthday was 12-12. Like that's an angel number. Like so anyway, it's
crazy,
fucking crazy. Yeah.
Like now I found myself.
What do you guys think that is?
I don't know.
I don't know because I have a different right because it's different.
I really don't. Yeah, I really don't know what to make of it. To be honest, it's like people say, there's angel numbers, there's guardian angels, or it could be your mom. Just sending messages that she's all right, she's cool. Or so I don't know. I don't even know honestly to what to think.
For me, it brings back, like, whenever I see 12-12, no matter where I'm at, it's like, okay, what are you trying to tell me, lady? Like, what is it right now?
You pay more attention.
I pay more attention to my surroundings, to my environment, to what's going on, to a decision I'm about to make, to something like that. So it makes me more aware of the moment, more so than anything else, for me.
I don't know, like in spiritual practices, right? So I'm a santera, right? But I was raised like in different spiritualities. My mother was always into crystals and Reiki and energy, and she's a very good medium. She has psychic abilities, and as do I, and I feel like the more that I meet people who are not raised like in a faith that's so open to spirituality, right? Like you're raised in the church and only the priest could be spiritual and the nun, But I think that when somebody passes away, especially somebody who's as religious as your mom was and Martin's mom, I think that those people, they hold a lot of power, those spirits, because they have so much faith. And usually people who have that much faith are constantly praying for their family, their children, their grandchildren, haciendo mandas, I think that I just got a crazy ringing in my ear. It's so loud. And I think that those people, they have a lot of energy, and that energy can stay with you. And sometimes they'll try to communicate with you of things that you'll feel comfortable with. So like if you keep seeing the same number and stuff like that, because it's stuff that spirit, because now they're celestial, will be like, they're going to notice, right? Because they're going to think angel numbers. They're going to think this. They're going to think that. But it's definitely like the energy of your mom. The biggest blessing in Santeria, when we consult somebody, the biggest blessing you can get is, it's in Spanish, but it says, El hijo bueno recibe bendición del Lofi, from God. So if you're a good kid, right, that blessing is the biggest blessing you can get. Moms, even if you're a bad kid, you're a good kid. Yeah. Like the worst kid is the best kid. Like
100%.
Right? So,
yeah.
He's been in jail 10 times, and she's like, yo no sé qué pasó.
Mi hijo no es cholo.
Like he's got 10 baby mamas. Es bien responsable. So those are usually spirits trying to communicate with you, but especially with people who have a faith, like, people who believe in the Virgen, people who went to church. Those are definitely, we think that they're spirits trying to communicate with you on a level that you will be comfortable with. So it's crazy, definitely your mom's energy. If that's how you feel about it, it's your mom, but and your dad and everybody, the corte celestial que te cargas, like you got a lot of people, but definitely if you feel like it's your mom's energy, it's definitely your mom's energy.
Yeah, that's why I trip out all the time. And like literally, like I'll be sitting there, just watching TV or whatever, and I'll just for some reason happen to look at the clock, and the numbers come up. That's or I'll happen to get my phone, and I'm gonna make a call or text, and the numbers, those are the numbers that pop up. Like coincidence, I don't know. I don't think it is coincidence. I'm just, like all of a sudden just happen to be looking at the clock at that.
Yeah, I don't believe.
Moment,
I don't believe in coincidence.
Yeah, right. Everything happens for a reason. Everything has a meaning to it, right?
Yeah, I don't believe in coincidence. I think sometimes we are not comfortable, so we'll be like, oh. Or sometimes we're so concerned with what people will say, right? Yeah. Like if I tell this person, I'll use myself. If I tell this person that I throw shells and talk to rocks and what are they gonna say? You gotta get over it, right?
Yeah, some people don't get it, though,
right? Yeah. So really, you gotta kind of be like, I don't give a shit. Yeah. Like, is it working for me? Does it make me happy? Do I feel better? Go with it, as long as you're not hurting anyone else.
Exactly, yeah.
I think that the whole indoctrination of the church, we're brought up to get baptized and always feel all this guilt and more guilt and more guilt. And you're never okay. You're always paying some shit back, right? Yeah. It's like, when am I okay?
When does it end?
Yeah, when am I just having a good time and not doing nothing to nobody and just hanging out or whatever? But, yeah.
That's what I say, it's like, as long as you're not hurting anybody, you're doing what you got to do every day. I mean, shoot. You know, I just feel that religion is more about control, really.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, because like you're talking about like the brujas, you know, all that was a taboo, you know, like you couldn't talk about that, you know. And back in the days, people were lynching. Why? Because they didn't understand it. I think it's when people don't understand something,
they're afraid of it.
they're afraid of it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and nobody wants to think that you have like a upper hand on them.
Yeah.
So like people confuse mediumship and psychic ability with being able to read your mind. Like
Yeah.
we've talked about
Yeah,
where people are like, "Do you know what I'm thinking?" No, I don't know if I know what you're
People don't understand
I don't know what
it.
you're thinking.
They don't know how
like
it
I
works.
can talk to your grandma and she died. I can talk, whatever to whatever spirit is around, but I don't know what you're thinking. Like that's not how it works.
Yeah, no, I when I met Thanya, it was just complete by just
Fate.
chance, fate, whatever you want to call it, and it's interesting. Like you came into my life, Thanya, in a time where there was so much change and things happening spiritually for me, and I've always like. I say in jest, I'm a guru, I'm a this, I'm a that, but I had,
God.
I've always, I've always wanted to learn about different, like world religions and different, things like. People are so afraid of when I took the Brujo 101, I took a class called Brujo 101 at a place out in Burbank, yeah. And when I
I
went
made fun
there,
of him. You can too.
and
can too.
yeah, well, Hooter too. He's like, hey, because I started thinking, I went back on the road like shortly after signing up, and I thought I was gonna have those days off, but I didn't. So that fool
didn't
called
get
me
my
a
degree.
brujo. He called me a brujo school dropout.
Never
And
gonna get this degree. What is this?
And so, but
That's funny.
the things that I picked up there were enough to take me down a rabbit hole. Because listen, once you have a roadmap of what you need to be learning, then you can take it upon yourself to get the information, and if you want it bad
Very true,
enough,
yeah, very true, yeah.
going somewhere to get the information is great, and that's fantastic. But we live in a world now where, fortunately, you don't have to go to a building to get the information. It's all in the palm of our
Everything's right
hands,
there, man.
as long as you know how to research
Yeah.
it correctly, because there's a lot of misinformation
Yeah,
in there
exactly,
as
yeah.
well.
That's the
So,
kicker, right? Like
Yeah.
you got to really weed out the stuff that's bullshit to
Yep.
the stuff that's real to the stuff. But yes, I'm sorry. Continue.
No, you're 100% correct. But when you feel and everybody says you can't go by feeling, you got to go by this.
You
But
got to go
gotta
by
fight-
feeling.
But
yeah,
you
you
know,
gotta
Go by
follow your
feeling.
when you
instincts.
know that you know, and you're like, you know what, fuck you, I know this, and you cannot shake it from me. This is the faith that I have in what I'm believing, and this is confirming it, and this is showing me that this is the path I need to be on in order to grow in a spiritual way. And then anything else that anybody says to you is not going to matter. You know, for beyond a shadow of a doubt, that there's people coming into your life to help you on that path.
I think that everybody meets for a reason.
Yeah.
And I think that you're cool to look for your own spirituality. I think the problem starts where you think you're the only way, right? Like,
Correct.
I'm a santera, obvio, but that doesn't mean that everybody needs to be a santero.
Not everybody has to kill chickens.
But Martin, everybody messages me to ask me if I do that all the time. I do not.
But
I
people
do it
gotta
once
be
a week.
people gotta be open to it.
Yeah, but
To
it's
everything,
like,
you know?
but if somebody comes to me, we've read people and I've told them, you don't got to believe in this. But in this reading, you got to believe in something.
Yeah.
Figure out what you want to believe in. You want to believe in, whatever. Like we have talks about my son. My son's already a santero. He's done the ceremony. But I've talked to him because he's only 14, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, if tomorrow comes and you don't want to be a santero no more, papi, give me everything you received, all the orishas. I'll take care of them for you and go find your happiness. Because what you need to be first is happy.
Yeah.
I'm doing all these things because as a mom, I want to do what I think is right. But maybe when you're 21, 22, you're like, I want to be a Buddhist.
Yeah.
Fuck it. If it makes you happy, be happy.
And you know what's crazy is that
Everybody
people
has a different direction.
Yeah.
100%. Everybody has their own path, right? And I think that the problem happens a lot of times when you invest so much time into a faith and you try to put it into your kids, and when they don't take it, there's this riff, and there's this almost like there's people that get disowned by their family because they don't believe.
And a lot of animosity, right?
Oh, it's horrible. It's horrible.
They don't talk for years.
Yeah,
I've seen that because of religion.
And that's not how is that religious? Like you're supposed to love each other.
That's what I don't understand.
Like, well, how is that religious? You know, I don't think like I think that everybody needs somebody to come into their life to be a spiritual conduit, to get you in touch with your spiritual side and to get you to do things to clear some energy. I've had a lot of people in my life like that. And they came and they showed me things and it was awesome. And then they left, But I feel like you don't necessarily have to be a santero. You don't necessarily have to be a palero. You don't have to be Catholic. Like you should first be a good person.
Yeah, exactly.
And disowning your kids because he's gay, because the church
doesn't make sense.
You're not a fucking.
Yeah,
come on.
Doesn't make sense. So, what's crazy, and I have nothing against religion. You know what I'm saying? I respect everybody's beliefs, religion, whatever. It's just that I've seen some people that are real religious, and usually they're the worst, man. They're like the worst, Like I've seen like they be doing some crazy selfish shit, but they're preaching all this religion and love and this and that, which is dope. But then you do the opposite, and it's like I don't get people like that.
You guys need to watch this documentary. It's on Hillsong, the church.
Oh,
Martin, you would love this thing.
What's it called?
It's called Hillsong, the mega church. So it was like this huge church where Justin Bieber used to hang out with the preacher, the pastor.
I heard about that.
Yeah. So the guy was like sleeping with all these chicks and drinking and having tequila parties at his house and doing all this shit, right?
He was blessed.
Yeah, he
So
was.
he was what was his name?
Super blessed.
I started following his last girlfriend on
Oh my
because I want to see if
God.
she'll come on the podcast. Like I've been messaging her, right? So this guy was like preaching and very strict about adultery. Like they have these couples who went on this documentary and they're like, yeah, I cheated on my wife, or not even cheated. I had sex with my boyfriend before we were married, and he basically told us we were going to hell, and he made us feel so guilty. We got married, then we got divorced because we were fucking 18.
Homie, do you know how many people get married because they're horny and they don't want to sin?
This dude was snorting coke off hookers.
He's all laughing.
He's like,
Did you get married because you didn't want to sin?
Yeah.
Wow.
wow. Well, God bless you.
Thoughts and prayers, homie.
But then we got divorced.
What,
7 years later.
Okay, please tell me about that.
How old were you when you got married?
I think I was like, man, I want to say like 19, 20, something like that.
And that's when you're super horny.
Yeah. And then here's the thing, man. It's just that, like I felt like I had already done it all and seen it already by that age. Because, since I was a young age, I was doing all kinds of crazy stuff.
He's up by 20, I'm retired.
Yeah, so I was thinking, well, what's the next step?
I've lived it.
Yeah, so I'm thinking, what's the next step? So next thing is you get
The
get
next step
married
is you
and
can
have
drink
kids.
legally. What the
now
fuck?
you
Like
didn't-
you're
you-
20.
Were you trying not to have sex with this woman?
Well,
Pobrecita, maybe she doesn't want people to know this too. Like,
yeah, I don't want to say too much, but yeah, because he's right there.
he's like, I'm going to show this to my mom. Right? I'm going to show this to my mom.
But no, we have a cool relationship now. For a while, we weren't seeing eye to eye, but now we're good. But yeah, it was just one of those things where it was
You felt pressure?
We felt pressure, and then and then the whole thing, the whole religion thing came into play. Like with her parents, my mom, and this and that, and it's just premarital sex and all this other shit. It just goes on, and they start putting all kinds of shit in your head, and you're just like, well, what do I do? Well, you got to get married, or this and that. If you want to have sex, you got to get married. I'm like, all right, well, fuck, we got to get married then. But it was
Did
a
you get
lot.
married in a church? You got
In the
married?
church, yeah.
Wow, you went the whole shebang.
Yeah, we went the whole shebang. Yeah.
Dang. I told you to invite me to the next party because you're gonna kill like
They killed two
party.
pigs.
I like this.
I think we killed like 2 chivos that day.
Nice.
Chiquis Martin and I want to go.
Now-
Like we're in. I like birria. What happened?
Now, and there's always something that brings us back. Like when my mom passed, it brought me back. There's always something. There's a catalyst that happens in our life that all of a sudden we have to hold on to something. You gotta fucking like believe, and I know you've shared this before, and I know it's a difficult thing to bring up, but and your son's here. But at that moment, and right now, when you told me that your mom was that much of a prayer, I think that's why he was able to make the recovery that he made. But how much did you and you know, just to bring people up that might not know the story, a few years ago, your son was in a horrible fucking, you know, in an accident. Well, it wasn't even an accident. It was
Yeah, well, basically, I mean, he was driving for a rideshare company, and the wee hours of the morning, like 4:30, 5:30 in the morning, I guess there was some kind of altercation and road rage or something, and the other car ended up shooting at him, and so they shot it like a few times, like maybe 3-4 shots. He got hit, maybe like one hit him in the shoulder, and then it bounced up into his head, and the bullet still stuck there in his head, and yeah, it was some tough times, man, but. My mom praying, everybody praying. You know.
So your mom was praying like
yeah, and I put it up on, you know, because I'm a big believer when like I said, I'm not a big believer in religion, but I'm a big believer in the power of prayer, you know, and just talking to God and just, you know, so and I feel it's like an energy, you know, that just creates. You get one person doing it, another person, and it just creates this big old energy, and I put it up on Instagram, you know, on one of my stories. I remember that, you know, like I wasn't gonna say anything, you know, I was just like out of it, you know, because he was just laid up in there, but. I remember his mom told me, she goes, well, you should just put it on your Instagram. You know, you got a lot of people watching your shit, you know, and this and that. She goes, you know, the power of prayer, you know, which is true, you know. And I said, yeah. So I did it. I put it, you know, and I need all my prayer warriors and this and that. And you know, and man, next thing you know, the outcome was, you know, all the messages, you know, were overwhelming, man. But, you know, in a good way, you know, and it was just, I feel that, my whole family and everybody that was praying for us, man. I just feel that kept them here, man.
Let me ask you this: before that happened, were you praying that hard for anything, or was that the hardest you ever prayed in your freaking life?
Because, you know, I pray every day in the sense of like I talk to God, you know.
Okay.
Like I don't do you know the Padre Nuestro prayers and all that, you know. I
grew up doing those.
I just talk to God, you know, like whatever's feeling in my heart. So that's an everyday thing, day and night, you know. So, but when this happened, yeah, that's when I really went hard, you know, like, and you know, and I just never lost faith, you know, like I felt like, you know, like he was gonna be cool, man. I had people reaching out to me that were like that, you know, that are like spiritual guides and all that, you know, and telling me, don't worry, he's gonna be all right, man. He's gonna be all right. He goes, just, you know, don't lose faith, keep the faith, man. And that's one thing I always believe. I'm a big believer in faith, you know. So I know, you know, no matter how rough things get, it'll get better, you know, as long as you stay positive, man.
You said spiritual guides were reaching out to you?
Yeah.
Who like
just, you know, like I got a friend of mine too. Her name, you know, shout out to Lady, you know, like when my mom passed away, she reached out that same night and she just told me, she was like, hey, I got a message from your mom and shit. And I hadn't even told her, you know, that my mom was gone, you know. It was like at midnight, that same day that my mom passed away. And she just told me, she goes, you know, your mom wants you to know that she's all right. You're going to be all right. She goes, she goes, your mom's comedy. You know, she goes, the minute she saw that light, she took off. She goes, I'm out of here. You know, she goes, I'm gone. You know, she just wanted to make sure that you guys were straight already. That's the reason why because, you know, she was in Mexico and we were able to bring her back. And I'm telling you, she was only here for like a month. And it kind of, like, everything just happened too quick, but we all kind of, like, felt it. She was feeling it already. And she goes, no, I just wanted to make sure you guys were straight, you guys were good. And she goes, no me quería morir sin saber que, you know, that you guys were good. You know, I was telling us that. And I was telling her, like, what are you talking about? You know, you got a lot of years still left in you, you know. And my mom was, no, but, you know, just like, you know, but she would always, like, and I tried to change the subject, but I kind of, like, I felt it too, you know. It was just weird, man. It was just a weird feeling, you know.
That's some heavy shit, Citric.
Yeah, man.
I'm glad you're okay.
Yeah, he's like, you know, the doctors say he's a walking miracle.
Bro, no,
There you
like,
go.
when I saw him the first time I saw you, Eric, I was like, man, I didn't know what to expect, you know, because, like, that was a fucking, like, it's huge. But, like, I'm like, oh, you never know that this vato was, you know, shot in the head.
He was
no, seriously.
This vato.
Well, this dude, you know, this
He was
yeah.
like in four different hospitals, like in like a period of like 4 or 5 months and like that. So a couple weeks here, a couple weeks there, and he doesn't remember none of that. You know, he doesn't remember none of that. He just
It's kind of good, right?
he just remembers. He remembers maybe the last hospital he was in, which is the rehabilitation center. He remembers like a little bit of things here and there, but he had to learn how to walk, talk, and speak and eat and all that. You know, so
Kudos to you.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
And he's still, he's still recovering every day. It's a struggle, but he's getting, he's getting better as they, little by little every day, and he's getting ready to go back to speech therapy. It helps him a lot. So yeah, it's been a struggle, but at the end of the day, we feel blessed that he's here. It's a big blessing. It's like he was reborn again.
Legitimately,
yeah.
That's awesome.
I
didn't know that all that had happened. I'm not big on I don't like I didn't know that, but when I walked in, I have to tell you guys something. And I'm not only gonna say this because I don't like to say a lot of stuff about people. When I walked in, there was like a heavy energy in the room, like a really heavy energy in the room. I couldn't figure out what it was, and then that ringing in my ear, and then this side of my arm started hurting. And I felt but it was a good energy. Like when I walked in and saw you guys, it was a good energy. But it was like an energy where I felt like besides your mom, somebody else in your family with a male presence that has passed away. You got to think about it. Like over you guys when you guys were standing over there. But it was a good energy. Okay. It was a good energy. I didn't know all that had happened to you, to be honest with you. This is the first time I've ever met your dad, and I didn't even really follow him. I think I just followed you. But yeah, there's like a good energy. There's a male energy, and then there's a female energy. And then I don't know, it was just really, really strong when I walked in. I was like, whoa, this is crazy.
Man, that's crazy.
It was really, really crazy. And I feel like things are going to go very, very good for you. I don't know what you have, but there's something in the air that you've been working on that's going to finally cement, and it's going to go good for you.
Nice.
Because there's something that has been pushed back, but it's going to happen for you. Okay, sorry.
Well, thank you.
I don't like to tell people stuff. Ask Martin, but sometimes look at all my hair on my arms are standing up. But sometimes it's so strong that I'm like, don't you see me? I'm like,
I know you're over here fucking.
I'm like, leave me alone.
Doing bruja things over here.
I was like, is Martin doing brujeria? Is that why I feel like that, Chiki? Is Martin what is your man doing?
Hey.
While I bring him candles, I'm gonna light these.
I know, right? No, I think I didn't know how much of a rosary person your mother was until today. But dude, look, and like I said, I was never a religious. I shouldn't say I was never. I was very religious at one point in my life, not just in the Catholic Church, but in the evangelical life as well. And then I just completely turned away from it, right? And then when I did realize, because you're right, once you put that much energy into something, day in and day out, that energy doesn't just disappear. Like that faith, that intention.
Power. There's power.
There's a lot of power in it. It's like the beads. When people pray with the beads, it's the same thing in the rosary, the beads, right? And when there's a collection of people doing it in your DNA, with like, I'm sure that your mother was taught by your grandmother.
That's a spiritual inheritance.
Correct.
These people are manifesting things before it became a thing to manifest, because what are they praying for? Que le vaya bien a mi hijo, que le vaya bien a mi hijo. They're manifesting. Que le vaya bien a mi hijo, que se recupere. They're manifesting. Before affirmation became a thing that you would buy on Amazon, the ladies and the abuelitas who would pray, they were manifesting these things for you. That's why, there's people who say, my grandmother's prayers are still saving me today. That's exactly what's happening to all of us, right?
It's a trip, yeah.
No,
I believe that. Yeah, I do. And my other tia that passed away a couple years ago too, she was a big prayer warrior too, man. Her and my mom used to, get together all the time, and they used to have prayer meetings, so to speak, and
a conference. They're all come to the kitchen.
Yeah, everybody gets together. The whole block would go down there, and they just do their thing, man.
When my mom passed, there was a lot of people that showed up, that were I remember when you prayed for my daughter. I remember when she prayed for blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I remember when she prayed for yada, yada. There's a little girl who was born with a congenital heart disease. Yeah. And she spent, I think, the first year of her life in a hospital. And, my mom had Alzheimer's when she passed. And she she prayed for that little girl, This was over 20 years ago. And the little girl's mom, who's my sister's best friend, showed up. And she had a heart transplant. And is still kicking and doing her thing.
Wow.
And the girl showed up, to visit my mom when my mom was about to pass. My mom, again, she had Alzheimer's. And the woman walked in and she said, "Hey, do you remember me?" And my mom said, "Yeah, you're blah, blah, blah." And the girl said, "You remember that you prayed for my daughter?" And she goes, "Yeah." And my mom said the daughter's name.
Wow.
And she goes, she's 21 and now she's drinking margaritas. And she goes, "So thank you for those prayers that you did." And my mom just laughed and she goes, "Ay, mira que cabrona," because she's drinking. But the fact that she was able to recall that
that's a trip.
was pretty fucking nuts, man.
Yeah.
And like I said, there was a lot of people that showed up and said, "Hey, you prayed for my kid for this, or you prayed for me for this." Or the lady would just every day would grab a rosary and pray since I can remember, like when until she couldn't. That's what she did. So when you say that about your mom, it's a huge, and I didn't know that, like I said, until today when you mentioned that. And we haven't known each other for a long time, but we've known each other for a while now, and always learning something about somebody,
Yeah, no, it's a trip, man. Similar situations,
They're very similar, and again, the fact that she was probably praying her ass off when that happened to Eric.
Oh man, it was she was day and night. She was praying, man, with the rosary, man. She'd be at the hospital every day. Like I stopped working and everything, man, to be with him and make sure he was good, because I was the only one that had like a flexible schedule.
Yeah.
And we had just finished doing the show Lopez when all this happened, like maybe like a few months after that. So I was off work anyway, so it was cool, but I couldn't accept any other work because my mind was just focused on him, and making sure he was good, man. So, and I thank God every day too, that I was able to, like financially I was cool that I was able to just not work, man. Not
you were in a position to be there, yeah.
Yeah, so I thank God for that, man, because I wouldn't, if I would have to go to work every day, if I would have like a regular 9 to 5 and knowing he's laid up in the hospital and I have to go, it would have been devastating. Because me and him have always been close since he was little. He pretty much lived with me since he was like 8 years old, man. So we're like really tight. So you know what I'm saying? That's my best friend, my business partner. So if I'd be lost without him, basically.
We've done a lot of these episodes, Citric, and I gotta tell you that I've heard your story before, and it's always like because I have a son as well, and they're about the same age almost, I think, and I just can't even imagine what that's like. Anybody that has kids, I don't think they could imagine what that's like. Anybody that has, and there's that thing that has to carry you through. At that moment, I don't give a shit how strong, how anything you are, you just gotta, I hate to say let go and let God because it just sounds so cliche, but you gotta let go and have faith. Whatever you want to call God, whatever faith you want to have to have a faith in something bigger than you in order to maneuver through those situations.
It's real talk, man. It's real talk.
And otherwise, you fucking go crazy.
Yeah.
You fucking go nuts.
Yeah.
And a chicken wouldn't hurt.
Right? And a chivo.
And a chivo.
And a chivo. Barbacoa.
And a chicken wouldn't hurt. The other day we were talking about my sisters were bringing up memories of being in Mexico when we were little kids. And this lady, her name was Carmela in the pueblo that my mom's from. She had, and everybody back then, and still to this day probably, had chickens running around the backyard, and then they had the baby chicks. And I was a little kid, dude, like barely able to, like walk and shit like that. But I was fascinated by these little pollitos, right? The little chicks. And I'd go grab them. But I just would squeeze them because I didn't know.
So
and so I fucking killing these goddamn chickens without knowing, right? Like and by accident. Not like in a serial killer kind of way or nothing like that.
By birth is what you're
what I'm
telling
saying?
me?
So that's what Hooter said. I go,
my calling.
Freaking Hooter goes, bro, you were like a shit killing chickens like as a baby before. You didn't even know you were doing brujeria shit back then,
First
right?
of all, Hooter, I didn't kill chickens till I was 15. Shout out to Hooter.
It was for my quinceañera.
Everybody had a quinceañera. I got chickens.
Oh man, that's wild.
You don't know how many people, because of I won't blame it on Martin, will message me like, "Do you really kill chickens?" No, I do kill chickens.
Blame it on your religion. Don't blame it on me,
I
fool.
do kill chickens, but it's like a last resort, really. I love animals. I have a Frenchie. Come on, right? I'm like, I love animals. But if it's the chicken or me, it's gonna be the chicken.
Well, yeah.
If it's anything or me, it's gonna be that animal.
Why'd the chicken cross the road? Because a Santera was behind it.
His grandma has chickens in the backyard.
Oh, shit.
Hey, those are a hot commodity right now because of all those laws on how to grow chickens.
Yeah.
The Santeros used to pay like $15 for a chicken. Now they're like 45.
Damn.
There's a markup on those chickens.
Damn.
Yeah, you sell
The price went up.
you sell doves or chickens on like offered up, you make a killing.
Oh
Just
man,
It's a business idea for you guys.
She got roosters. She got like two couple
Hey,
roosters.
You can have roosters. You can't have. I thought you couldn't have
That's
roosters.
what I thought, but you know,
Where do they live?
They live out there in Fontana.
Oh, that's
all
some
right,
gangster
come on.
shit.
They either live in East LA or the IE.
East
Oh,
LA
yeah.
or-
Well, Fontana's got meth labs. They don't give a fuck about no roosters. They got
Yeah,
chicken heads
They
over
ain't
there.
worried about the chickens over there.
They're like, we're not worried about. We're with the fentanyl over
They
here.
got
We're
way
about
bigger
the
fish to
fucking-
fry. There's a rooster over there. Fucking, we're chasing these chicken heads.
Yeah, no.
I thought of you though because I'm getting ready to do a ceremony and I made a list of animals for Cuba. And I was like, I'm gonna send this to Martin, so that I'm like, I need these 120 fucking animals, Martin, for like 7
Bro,
days.
you're like living in the Old Testament, eh?
Oh man.
Neighbors have ducks now. We just hear that.
Yeah, one of the neighbors has a duck now.
I'll
in
take
the
that
back.
too.
Yeah.
I'll take that too.
That fool's just chilling in the pool.
Hey, those ducks are like
Nice.
55, 60
Yeah,
bucks
yeah,
now.
yeah.
For ducks?
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Sheesh.
When you go eat somewhere where they sell duck, it's
It's
pricey.
expensive right
pricey,
now.
yeah.
They
Oh
changed
my
the law on how
God.
you
Yeah.
can grow poultry. So they have to have a certain amount of room in the cage now because it
Oh,
was so
shit.
inhumane.
Oh,
So- Yeah.
free range.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
well, now
They're big on
everybody,
that now,
like,
yeah.
they have
Even
to,
the
like,
eggs.
yeah, like, it's crazy. So, like, the place I used to go to for everything, he's like, yeah, like, the new law, it's killing all the small, like,
That's
feed
so crazy,
places.
dude. But these homeless are living in a goddamn box. There's no free range people no more.
I seen a homeless guy with a chicken the other day.
The first homeless santero. What happened?
Ah.
What happened? That's fucking funny.
Listen, we gotta start wrapping it up. But Citric, thanks again, dude. It's always a pleasure to hang out with you, not just when we podcast, but just in general, homie. You're a great fucking person. You know, I got nothing but love for you. Your son Eric is always freaking, hell of a guy. Just a stand-up guy all the way around, man. Just a super cool dude. He always sends me funny shit on text messages and shit. He always finds the most random shit. I'm like, where the hell did he think this thing up from, man?
Yeah, he's been finding some crazy shit on Instagram, on YouTube. Like, what? He sends me some shit, so I'm like, what the fuck?
But I'll be in the most random place. I'm like, what the fuck? But it makes me laugh every single goddamn
Martin's
time.
in
So
church.
thank you.
He's like, what?
What do you got going on? Anything you want to plug? I know you've been doing shows. You've been doing things.
Yeah, man. We've just been doing a stand-up comedy here and there. Got a few shows here and there. So you want to follow me on Instagram? At Big Citric. I'm always posting up like where we're gonna be at. And also, the Ghetto Busters on Tubi.
That's right,
You
Ghetto
happened to be
Busters.
on episode 2?
I was on. I did a cameo on one of the
Yeah.
episodes. Fun time. So congratulations on that.
Yeah, no, thank you, man. Yeah,
Ghetto
you did
Busters on
You
Tubi.
did a hell of a job, and you were funny, man.
Oh, dude, it was a good time. Everybody on that set was just awesome and really good energy all the way around. A lot of fun. I know you dude, when I realized that you're the dude from Idiocracy, so like you have no idea. I was like, oh shit, I was a fan of this fool before I even met him. It's one of my favorite fucking movies of all
The
time.
Secretary of Defense.
Secretary of Defense, homie. Yep. And then of course you were on the Lopez show. We killed it on there.
Thank you, man.
And so yeah, dude, just I again, Citric, nothing but love and continued success for you, brother. And
you, man.
like whatever it is that you're working on, always good energy, good vibes, and hope it prospers. Whatever it is that
Thank you,
you're
bro.
doing, bro.
Appreciate it. Thank you. And likewise too, man. I know you guys.
Thank you.
You guys are on the grind every day, man. So it's good to see you guys doing your thing, man.
Gracias, Citric. Gracias. Listen. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Brujo 101. Hit us with a rate and review. Share us with your homies, with your friends, with your Catholic peeps. Let them know that we love them all.
It's all love and respect, right?
It's all love, man. It's all love. And whatever path you're on, just don't try to make it everybody's path, because everybody has their own path and everybody has free will. And I think that's what makes it awesome. Any parting words there, Thanya?
Don't let your Catholic friends follow us. And I'm going to be doing a pop-up at the We Don't Smoke the Same live event on the 16th of April. So they're only having 2 outside vendors on one of them. So I'll be there with like all the crystals, sage, baño, stuff like that. So please come out and support me. You can follow me on Ashe Imports. And I don't kill a chicken every day. Stop messaging me about that shit. It was nice meeting you, both of you.
Likewise.
You're super cool.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Likewise.
All right, guys.
Oh, no worries.
All right, guys. Gracias. Thoughts and prayers.